Taxevity at Taxevity, where you meet people who make life better, our clients and friends. My name is Pramod Sharma, and today our guest is Catherine Soplet, who is a civic entrepreneur, and we'll find out what that means. I met Catherine a number of years ago. It was at an event called the Young Entrepreneur Society. I'm not sure how we got in, but they let us in, and Catherine spoke to that group, and we've stayed in touch ever since. We'll be talking about building up our neighborhoods. Let's welcome Catherine.
Hi, Pramod. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. Now, to start off, what is civic engagement? It sounds like something that's political and out to achieve sinister ends.
It's been very mischaracterized. People think that civic engagement is the same thing as partisan politics. And so partisan politics would be on the far end of the spectrum. Civic engagement is something as simple as what you do outside of where you live. So civic engagement is where you do some work on a committee in your local school, if you are engaged in a project in your faith community, if you are engaged in a project with your professional association. That's all on the continuum of civic engagement.
Okay, so there are a lot of things that we can do and probably are doing that are civic engagement, except we haven't thought about them in those ways.
That's right. So civic engagement helps to build capacity in your community. For example, you and I connect online, and that's online community is civic engagement because we are building capacity, sharing information, improving our paths and directions as we go forward.
Okay, is giving back a form of civic engagement? Volunteering?
People call giving back and volunteering a form of civic engagement, yes.
Okay, so that gives us a better sense of what civic engagement is. Can you give us an example?
Well, my favorite example happens in Ontario Public Schools. It's called Parents Reaching Out Grants, and parent councils are formed of volunteers on the school landscape, and the Parents Reaching Out Grants are small funds of up to $1,000 where parents work with the educators and the principals to organize a project that helps parents learn how to help their kids do better in school.
Okay, and what kind of projects might qualify for a grant?
Well, in the parents in the community and the educators would want to learn about nutrition, about developing brains, about homework strategies, about pathways to post-secondary education, what is mental health, what is cyberbullying, all of those pieces of information as parents that we need to know so that when our child comes to us, we can help them get over that barrier.
Now, isn't much of that information already available online?
Having information online is one source, but sometimes what you really need to do is to have that face-to-face time so that you can share information in a more personable way.
How are you involved with these Parents Reaching Out grants?
I've been involved since 2007-08. First of all, in a hands-on way as a parent volunteer on a school team. And later, as the uptake became of the Parents Reaching Out grants was established in the school where my child was going to school, it became evident that we needed to keep the grants on the table. And so I began to tell people, notably at the school board to begin with, of the positive outcomes that were seen where the grants were established, and to make sure that my MPP understood that this was a good policy of the government and that we needed it to continue.
Okay, now parents are busy also. How do you get them involved in the process?
Well, first of all, you have to let them know that the process exists, because the awareness of the program has not been well publicized, and then encourage people to do what they can. Not everybody has 60 hours a week to devote to a not-for-profit, unpaid position, but some people in a 3-month period may have a little bit of time where they can go to their school or do some work on the telephone or do some work online to help in the organizing process of the grant, and to get out one night, twice, 2 nights in the course of a term to attend a session on information on how to help your kid.
Okay, I've heard of social entrepreneurs. You call yourself a civic entrepreneur. What does that mean?
So a civic entrepreneur is a person that's taking social policy to the market. A social entrepreneur is using market forces to change behavior in a pro-social way. So I know that sounds a little bit complicated, but as a civic entrepreneur, I identified that the Parents Reaching Out grants were producing positive outcomes, such as improved literacy, improved report cards, lower suspension rates. I reviewed police reports that showed that where the grants established that crime rates reduce, and I know that that is good for the market because people want to live in safe neighborhoods, and it's reflected in a positive trend in real estate value, and business wants to have a startup in a safe neighborhood.
Yeah, I don't have much knowledge about these Parents Reaching Out grants. Has there been an issue with communicating to the public about them?
In my view, that answer would be yes.
Okay, and what can be done to help spread the word?
Well, first of all, I'm doing it right now. Thank you,
Okay.
Pramod, for bringing me here. What I have been able to do with some success over the past few years, when the grants have been called in the spring, I have drawn their attention to large organizations and associations. So first of all, I go to my school board, Peel District School Board, and I say these grants are great. Would you please write a letter to the Minister of Education and say we need to keep the grants?
Okay.
Okay, and then I went to the Ontario Public School Boards Association and made the same request. And then I went to the teachers' unions and I said these grants help teachers get their job done. Would you, as parents, as parents, would you please let people know that these grants are available? You don't have to do them, but if you let other people know about them, then good things will happen.
And what kind of a reaction do you get?
The first reaction is the typical one: we don't have time to do that. We can't tell people to do this, and the short answer is yes, it's a skirmish and it's very messy work. The longer answer is that when you convince people to attempt one of these grants, at the end of it they go, wow, that was great. And the benefit is that once people figure out how to do one, they can do another one. So we're teaching people how to fish.
Okay, and teaching them how to fish is a process that does take time.
That's right, and it's a front end load. It's like raising children.
Yes. A lot of work in the beginning.
That's right, and then hopefully it evens out and launches at the end.
One would hope. How can people get involved with these grants? What calls to action would you suggest?
Well, the call to action is not only for parents in schools, but the community at large. People want to know that that the schools are doing well in their community, whether they wish to preserve their residential real estate value, whether they want to make sure that the neighborhoods are safe so that people are safe and there's a lower crime rate and business finds that attractive to be able to establish their market. So whether or not you have a kid in school, what you could do is go to your local public school and ask the principal whether the school council has access to Parents Reaching Out grant. And if they have not, perhaps, since business people are very good at project management, they would like to undertake a few hours over the course of a year to assist with, as a community rep on the parent council, to get a grant and get it into the school.
Okay, so there's not a big commitment of time required to get involved.
The commitment would be self-selected. So if you have time, great, and if you don't have time, do what you can.
And you've been involved in helping out for a number of years. What keeps you going?
I'm very excited when I see people and communities strengthening. The big project which I'm very proud of was my involvement in a Parents Reaching Out grant that served the high settlement and marginalized community of Roche Court, which is located in the southwest corner of Mississauga. So in 2007-8, the school had a population of 80% newcomers because of a boundary change to the school, and it compromised the ability of the parents in the school to feel confident that public education would be able to deliver to all those disparate needs.
Mm-hmm.
With the grant, we were able to bring everybody to the school. Those who couldn't get to the school came in on buses, and the children came with the parents. The children went into the gym where high school students got community hours under the supervision of City Parks and Rec people. So the high school students got their community hours and also learned skills. And the parents went into the classrooms to learn about what is Ontario education, what are good study habits, how can I get help, and if you need help, how do I find someone who can speak my language? So those matters were addressed. And as a result of the 4 sessions that were held, what happened was the grades improved, the attendance improved, and the high school graduation rates improved because the students got their requisite community hours. And it didn't happen only 1 year. The effect continued for 2 years.
So how did the effect continue?
Because the institutional knowledge and the learning, so the knowledge transfers and the trust building, so that even if people were not able to participate in the nights that were held, because they had takeaway information and because they lived in the towers, then the women were getting together and they were exchanging the information, so people were helping each other.
Oh, wonderful. Well, it's really nice to meet people who are as committed as you are to making positive changes in our society. If people want to get a hold of you, what's the best way for them to reach you?
Well, the fastest way is on Twitter. So I'm at Soplet. So @ S for Sam, O, P for Peter, LET.
Okay.
I'm also on LinkedIn, Catherine Soplet. And I think that's probably the best way because you'll see my picture.
Okay, well, thanks for dropping by.
Thanks, Pramod.
Thanks for joining us for Tea at Taxevity. The Taxevity Insurance Advisory helps you understand insurance and bridges gaps in your coverage. There's no premium for peace of mind. How healthy is your insurance?